I dream and the world trembles.
You are listening to the Emerald Dreamcast, a World of Warcraft podcast, with your hosts, Hazel and Wowmartiean.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the podcast. Good to have you guys here. It is a Monday, May 9th, 2016. So good to be back. Mondays, again, as always, are so much better now because of Emerald Dreamcast. And there is our guest. But before we get to a guest, there's Hazel. I think, is Hazel. Did we lose Hazel? Hazel? Hello?
Oh man, every time I mute, I'm just paranoid that button's just not going to work. I'm going to try and unmute, and I'm just going to be gone forever.
You're going to be stuck in the void. Aww.
Hi.
Hi, Hazel. Good to see you. Well, I can't see you. Not yet. We might do cam someday. We haven't gone down that road yet, but...
Yeah, just pretend that I'm just, like, made up for the red carpet.
That's right. Oh, of course.
Full glam.
Absolutely. Good
I have a cat on my shoulder. What are you doing?
This is going to be a very cat-tastic show, from what I'm hearing. Along with Hazel and her kitty, we have a very special guest. His name is Stone, and he has a cat named Bob who likes to show up from time to time. Is Bob
Not
around?
a kid named Bob, a cat.
Yeah, we had that confusion earlier. Some kid named Bob followed him home. They took him in. So, how are you, Stone and Bob?
I am doing well. Bob, we took his bell off him, so he shouldn't hear it anymore.
My parents waited till I was 18 before they took my bell off. So,
thank you for having me on.
Absolutely.
I was like, whoa, okay.
No,
let's go.
absolutely.
Do it.
I mean, I ever since I started, I was always interested in the Ironman challenge. Don't get me wrong. As many tunes as I've leveled over time, I've always been curious about how that worked and how I would do with it and everything else. So, recently getting into it, it's been very intriguing on a lot of levels that I didn't expect. And there's a lot of people getting involved in not just the Ironman, but was it Bloodthirsty? There's a lot of different challenges going on. And right now, with downtime before Legion comes out, it's a perfect time for people to get into it. And I wanted to bring it to people's attention. So Stone's here to talk about WowChallenges and all that he does as well with the website and his own podcast and all that. But before we get into that, let's go into... Well, actually, no, Stone, why don't we let you talk about yourself a little bit? I mean, just give us a synopsis. I mean, we'll get into the meat of it here in a bit, but tell us about you and Bob if you want to go into, what color he is and whatnot.
Oh my god, do you have pictures of Bob that we can link?
Oh, we could put Bob on.
There's pictures floating around.
All right.
Well, see,
if at any point within the next week you find some of those, you tweet them at me. I need them.
Okay.
There's pictures of me floating around, too, but the judge says those are supposed to come back.
Yeah,
anyway,
those really supposed to be up?
Well, I'm not supposed to talk about it. Anyway, Stone, why don't you talk about again? Talk about you. Talk about the website and everything else that you're kind of involved with. Like I said, a little synopsis of who you are and what you do.
Yeah, I'd say a lot because I am not a professional. I am just a schmo.
Oh, okay.
That decided that I was going to put some resources towards saving a website. Basically, the old WowIronman.com website, the former owner disappeared and no longer paid his bills, and the website went up to auction, and I decided, this is a challenge, and there's still people playing it. This is back before Warlords for sure. And there's still people trying to play it, and they're still working with the old site that was buggy and all this stuff. And so I said, I'll put some money up and buy the auction out, and it became a little bit more expensive than what I thought it was going to be, but it was worth it because we now have a place that we know for sure that I'm not going to go anywhere. If something does happen to me, I actually have it in my not my will, but when you die, there's actually a list of things that you can ask people to do, right? It's like your final, your final request.
Right.
So you're going to leave it to Bob, right?
Well, I don't know if you guys wanted to. Bob has actually killed one of my irons, so I'm not very happy with him at times. But
wow.
Yeah, so it was very important to us, that if anything ever happens, that the website will move on to people that will still carry it on, so that it won't go away or anything like that, right? So that's just I was a business analyst for a long time, so I'm very much a planning guy and all that stuff. So this is very much how I am. I plan things out. I make all these things, and and now kids are deciding to talk. So, so I'm a father of two kids, and they're two boys, 8 and 6 years old, and they're just all over the place. And
Neither one of them's named Bob.
no,
Oh.
no. And then we've got Bob, who is about 3 months old, but he's actually quite bigger than you would think a 3-month-old kitten would be. He's going to be a big cat.
Wow.
So basically, with the website, when we went live with it, we decided, okay, we want to just do more than just Ironman. We want to add a couple more in there. So we did the Bloodthirsty, which we want you to level up without doing quests. So you might, and so typically you would aim towards grinding, and then the other one is the Pacifist, where you basically level up with no killing, like no killing critters, no nothing. I personally have not had very good success with any of them. However, the Pacifist, I lose my mind in it, because it's very, very grindy up until you get to level 20, and when you get to level 20, then you can get archaeology and stuff, and then you can level up much quicker, but it's still very, very hard to do. I've gone to BlizzCon. Last year was my first year. I'm going to go again this year. Everything about who we are as a group, we needed help. And last year or the year before, no, about a year. It's been just slightly over a year since we really needed help. And so basically, when we got the website, we built it up, and we asked a bunch of podcasters. I kind of spammed a whole bunch of
There you go.
and just asking, hey, we got the Ironman site back up, but it's under a new thing, and we've bought the old one, but it directs to our new one. Can you guys talk about it on your podcast a little bit? And I got some responses saying maybe. I got a lot of people that said absolutely. So many people helped. It was I was just floored. And that's why that if anybody ever needs help from us, I will absolutely help out. It's just it's just what the WoW community to me is about. We're very much one group. I mean, I know some people don't like other people, but to me, I kind of look past that, and we all like to play this game. And we try to provide a way to play when you might be kind of bored of everything else.
Right.
And and it might not even be bored. It might just be, you want to try something different. You might I still raid. I mean, I'm raiding, and our guild just finished. Our guild just finished Heroic Archie, so. For us as a guild, we're done, but we're still going to raid here and there. But I do all kinds of stuff, right? So I also collect mounts. I am a...
Yeah.
Oh, good lord, mounts. So.
Yes, I think that's we've talked a bit about that, and basically saying if they just put mounts in lots of different dungeons and stuff like that. I mean, you look at people still going back and doing ICC and stuff for mount. If they just did more of that like they used to do, I mean, people would still have plenty to do even during downtimes. So mounts are definitely a magnet for people, without a doubt.
Could you tell me a little bit more specifically about what the Ironman challenge is and how it relates to the website? I'm not too familiar with the whole concept.
Yep. Okay, so the Ironman challenge was created back in the day, back around Cataclysm, when level cap was 85. Basically, you have to level... let me just go over the rules just to make sure I don't miss anything. Basically, the number one rule is you cannot die. So if you do die, that's it. Like you have to you just basically delete your character. Bless you, if you heard that. You delete your character and try again. You can't wear gear that's green or higher, so it's only white or gray gear. You cannot enchant your gear unless you're a Death Knight, which you have enchanting as part of your class, so it's different. You can't spec or talent or use glyphs. You can't use any primary professions. You can use secondary, but that gives you only like a yellow flag. You are allowed first aid though, so they decided, yeah, you can use a bandage because the cool down on it, like the debuff is like a minute. You cannot use potions or flasks. You can use a health stone only if you're a warlock, because again, that's part of your class. You cannot use elixirs because most of the XP boost elixirs will give you boosts, and then you're that's a no because you're not supposed to level with an XP boost, right? And basically, you can't run dungeons. You can't be in a group. It's more supposed to be a solo thing. There are other rules that get more into the nitty gritty, but those are more just to reinforce the other rules that we have. So, like I said, like people are not supposed to group up and all that stuff, but for the most part, if you are not going to really make a solid attempt at going for max and just want to do something for fun, join a group, man. I mean, just run. Just run with a friend. I've seen a bunch of podcasters say that they stream it live, where they're going to run with like two or three others, and they end up still dying. So, and we know that they are not going to be trying to hit max. I mean, they can say that they're going to, but there has never, ever been anybody that has hit max on the first go. It's just you cannot. You just can't. Part of this challenge is you die, and you learn from where you died, and you don't do that again.
Yeah.
So
I it's funny because I went into it, I hate to say, probably more cocky than I should have. And, a group of gnolls and murlocs did me in at level 12. So that really kind of set me back and made me really rethink things a touch. So, yeah, because I was a night elf, I figured, I'll have...
Night elf is good.
Yeah, I'll have my... oh, shoot, I just lost the racial, what it was called.
Shadow Meld.
Thank you.
Yep.
And, I figured I'll just run through the group, and then I'll Shadow Meld, and then I'll Diagro, fine. And that was true. Except that I was on a hunter, and they went after my pet, and when they got done with the pet, they still realized I was there. Whoopsie!
Yeah, that's no good.
Nope, that was my mistake, and that was me being
goodness.
impatient and being cocky, and so, yeah, I see why you say that, people don't make it on the first try, because I think
it seems like one of those things that's actually a lot harder than it sounds.
Exactly.
So people wouldn't necessarily be careful enough on their first try. Yeah.
And we've all leveled, and we all think we know exactly what to do, but until you do it like this, it's interesting.
Yep.
So... Well, that's cool. All right. Well, let's go into what we did this week in and out of game. Hazel, let's go ahead and start with you. What have you been doing?
Oh, well, mostly the same stuff. Ever since the announcement of the actual prices on the Gold Sync vendor in Legion, like the 2 million mount and the 1 million pet and whatever, I've been starting to think a little bit more actively about making gold, because right now I'm sitting on about 500,000 on one server, another 500,000 on a different server. And I'm just kind of making gold for the sake of it, because I've kind of bought everything I wanted to buy and it didn't really mean much to me anymore. But now with the prospect of there being something that I could actually work towards, I'm starting to think about maybe doing some counter raids again, or maybe some... I thought about your whole routine with Kazakh, and then I thought, no. I can't do that.
No, yeah.
But I was thinking about that, and then, of course, my normal PvP stuff. I reached my first 2,500 this last week, which was a kind of big deal for me. I'm still not making as much progress as I want to be making. I'm actually really frustrated with that, but I'm just going to do my best and not give up and try not to let it take over my life, although it's a little bit too late for that. Days and nights and weekends and weekdays are all just kind of blurring together. And there's only 2 months of the season left, so I can have a life after that.
There you go.
Basically where I'm at. And then outside of WoW, I think I talked about this last week. I don't remember. It was a long time ago. Like I said, days and nights blurring. But I've been actually picking up running because I figured it's better than turning into a shriveled vegetable in my computer chair. And it's pretty much the worst thing ever. I really, really hate it, but I keep doing it. So there's that.
Well, see, I only run when I'm being chased, so
Yeah.
that's just the way I do things. I figure, I get it when I need it.
Yep.
And I get away, hopefully. Probably not, though. So I go really fast downhill, though. I'll go with that. So as far as my week, I really haven't played a ton of WoW. I've been maintaining my garrisons. I've got the 11 level 3 garrisons that have been making me gold this whole time, and just doing those as always. But I've actually been slowly building up another set of 11. And I think it's too late probably at this point, but they all have about at bare minimum 8 treasure hunters each already, and they're all level 3. So I don't know. I'm gonna keep pushing it a little bit and keep seeing how it goes. If I can get some more flow there, I can buy some tokens from those particular garrisons as well. Because I'm not even a year up into the tokens so far. So I know it's a 2-year max. So I want to max that out. So I'm trying to push those guys and see if I can get some more out of them. If not, then fine. But the ones that I have do pretty darn well. I'm almost up to a year now. I think I'm into March next year for what I got. So that's basically it. I mean, especially with Overwatch beta coming out, I have to say I got sucked into that completely. It's the irony of the fact that I was in Call of Duty, and my friends that played Call of Duty switched to WoW, and that's how I got into WoW. And now I'm going to a Blizzard first-person shooter. It's so strange. I never thought that would be something that would actually happen. So I'm really enjoying that, though. I only played a little bit in December for the one weekend they had open, and they did a ton of changes since then. And yeah, and by the way, I don't know, Hazel, if you're familiar with this program, but this Forge program that records all your gameplay, so you can go back and cut out highlights and stuff like that. It's very handy, because sometimes you do something in game and you're just like, oh man, I wish I had Fraps running. And then you have this that's like always kind of recording in the background. It's actually really interesting. I'll have to send that to you.
How hard drive intensive is it?
They say it takes up, it'll fill up 10 gigs, and that's where its limit is, and then it'll start deleting stuff. But you can delete stuff. Right away.
I see. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of like a CCTV kind of thing.
Sure, that thing. Yeah. but yeah. So I'd never heard of it before, and it's been and Neon, who actually is in the chat room right now. Thank you for introducing me to that, because I've cut out some really good highlights from Overwatch, but also if I have a really good game of like Hearthstone, it's sitting there that I can go ahead, because I never know when those things are going to actually turn out, and I want to highlight those, and I don't want to sit there, how Fraps can take up so much space, so I don't want to sit there and run Fraps every time I play a game, so this comes in very handy. Outside of game, we talked a little bit about, I've got a job interview, or I had a job interview and everything, got the job. I actually start tomorrow.
Cool.
So I'm like really on edge. I'm like really excited, but really nervous. And so I'll be glad to get that first day under my belt, so I kind of know a little bit what's going on. But everything seems great. So I'm trying not to get too, I just get anxious, so I'm really trying not to, but I think it's going to be good. It's definitely going to be better than what I was doing before. I don't have to wear a name tag, so that's always nice. So there's that. So Stone, what have you been doing this past week?
This past week, mount runs, which I'm done all my classic mounts. I'm done TBC and Wrath, so I'm focusing on Cataclysm, and really there's only the 2 left. I need from Dragon Soul, I need the Lifebinder, and the one from Ultraxion,
the experiment
52B, I think, or something.
And
yeah, and it sucks my soul away, because I raided Dragon Soul for like a year and a bit when it was live, and it's just like, oh, I don't want to come back in here.
Yep.
But I want them out. So, and it goes pretty quickly, so it's okay. What else did I do? I did some rating, but not a whole lot. I think we're just more focused on old achievements now, because now that we're done heroic, I don't think we have the appetite to do mythic. Like, we don't have enough people in our guild. And totally space. I was actually also testing a new add-on that we're going to be doing for the website, and it's actually an add-on for a new challenge. It's a raid challenge, and I haven't really talked about it a lot, but it's like a legacy raid challenge. So basically, what we're going to what it's going to be about is like, can you do a old school raid and bosses at level with appropriate gear and chance buffs and all that stuff. So we track everything, and then you have to submit your stuff, and we have some code to check to make sure nothing's been tampered with. So it's, basically how few people can you kill a certain boss with, and how quickly. So if you can kill Ragnaros back in Molten Core with five people at level with appropriate gear, with like level 6 gear, then and you can do it faster than another group of 5, then you win, right? So we're gonna have a new leaderboard like that. I was actually going to be testing it tonight again. We found a guild that brought this to us, and we're like, oh my goodness, this would be a great thing to do. But we definitely have to tackle the add-on tech first, make sure it works. And other than that, I recorded, I guess, my podcast on Saturday. Going to be doing a podcast again on Sunday, a new podcast, and doing another podcast on Thursday. It's really weird. I seem it like my podcast life kind of we only went once a month, and then we went once every 2 weeks, and then we're like, okay, let's just go every week because we have too much to talk about. Right. Our shows were like becoming like 2 hours long. It was like, okay, no, this is too much. And even now that we're at once a week, we're still at about an hour and a half. And I'm trying to cut, but it's still stuff that we need to cover, right? So you can't really cut stuff that you need to cover, right? So, and plus I can yap, so I'm kind of partly to blame too.
Well, and you have Lita, which we know she can talk to.
Lita, I am the scrub. Okay, I was gonna say no. I'm serious. She's taught me so much stuff.
She's smart. She's good.
I mean, we work well together because we think the same way and we plan things out. But she taught me so much. I mean, she should be here over me. I mean, I know that Lita doesn't do the website part itself, but holy moly. Right,
I got her lined up. Unfortunately,
okay,
because she's Australian, for people that don't know. So the time difference is
right
just
now
crazy.
It would be 10
she's
a.m.
at work right now.
Yeah, it would be 10 a.m. Tuesday for her.
Right. So we have talked. She's gonna have some vacation time, I think, in August. She said. So I want to talk to her about this, but I also want to talk to her about Behind the Avatar because I've known her for a long time. And I kind of always wanted her to do something. So she wasn't doing anything when I first knew her. And to see the way she's just taken off and, with Behind the Avatar and, everything else. She's on so many podcasts now, I can't even keep track. So I'm really proud of her and really excited. But yeah, she'll definitely come on and yap at us. Oh, that'll be a good show because she has a lot of dirt on me. I hope she doesn't give any of it away. That's my only concern. So, well, we went into WoW Challenges a little bit. Let me ask you this. I mean, this is because you said you got the website from the original person that was running it. So basically, you're the official site for Ironman and these other challenges. There's nowhere else to go. And I know there's a lot of, especially right now, like I said, there's a lot of people doing it, but there's a lot of some high-profile people that are doing it. Streamers, YouTubers, and that kind of. Can you kind of just rattle some off and let us know? I know. I mean, the person that I know particularly is Grifter, because he's such a. I've known him for a while. I've done some voices in his machinimas. He's a great guy. But is there anybody else that you can think of that?
Well, I just want to say with Griff, I actually met him at BlizzCon last year, and he's a lot taller. And I know I told him this too, and he laughs at it. He's a lot taller than I thought he was going to be.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I was looking for somebody my height or shorter. Nope. I'm looking up. I'm like, whoa, dude.
Yeah.
Super nice guy. He is actually streaming it right now. Poor guy, he keeps dying so often.
Yeah, I saw one of his videos where he ended up having to start over in the next. So I was like, oh, I know that pain though.
Yeah, I've watched him once where he streamed it, and in the first 5 minutes he died, and he was mad. He's like, okay, the stream's over. I need to go, right? And actually, for anyone that's going to try it, when you do die, you should take a break, take a breather, take like a week even. Just listen. There's some people that get really mad because you can get up to like level 86 or something and die.
Yeah.
Okay. Like it's and it's no big thing.
Right.
But you have to make it back up there.
Right.
So other YouTubers, I would say Asmon Gold.
Asmon Gold. Okay.
He, from what I understand, he's no longer doing it because on his second attempt, he died to. It wasn't a bug this time. It was a literal in-game bug, like a bug spawned on him, and he died. No, it was the little crocodile guys from old Doom, I think. Rock pen, like a pit and stuff.
Yeah.
So one of those egg nests spawned on him, and that was it. He was done. So he said he wasn't going to do it anymore because he didn't feel that there was enough time to get it done before Legion. Because Legion does bring changes to our challenge that we're not happy with, but we're gonna roll with the punches, I guess. So.
Like what?
So, Legion at BlizzCon, when they were answering the Q&As, like the live Q&As, I'm sitting there and listening to people ask these things, and I'm like, okay, whatever. And then all of a sudden, somebody asks, "Hey, can we get like a fourth spec?" Or sorry, can we get like a third spec so we can go DPS, tank, and heal if we wanted to, right? And then somebody up on the stage goes, well, you know what? You can have a fourth spec too, a third, fourth spec. You can have it all. In fact, everyone is going to have a spec. And we're like, okay. So I'm sitting down. I'm like, I'm glad I'm going to sit down because they're basically saying characters are now forced into a spec. Right. So there is no longer the option to not pick anything.
Right, that is a big rule. Yeah.
And that's a big rule for us. And actually testing in alpha right now, I will say that getting up from level 1 to 100 is going to be a cakewalk.
Wow.
The issue for the big challenge now is going to be how to get from like 102, 103 to 110, because Legion also brings mobs that scale with your level, and for irons, that's no good. Like you want to be killing things that are 4 to 5 levels below you at least.
Yeah, that's what I've learned.
So, I tried to do the intro quest, and all of the mobs were level 100. And I took off all my gear. I managed to find some white gear. There was not a whole lot. However, I soon learned that I was playing well only because the NPC guy that was with me was killing everything. And then when it was just me on my own, I got my butt kicked. So it's gonna be difficult, I think, up into the higher levels. I think most people are going to be like, oh, this is going to be so easy now. And I will say, yes, it is easy up until you get to Legion.
Yeah.
We have asked them many times through many different means. So Twitter, people that I know that work on the .net forums and all that, just to give us an option to not pick a spec. I don't think we'll get that because of the weapon that you get. Now the weapons are based on you having a spec, and they don't want to break that, right?
Yeah.
So, and that's going to be a big part of this whole game now, is going to be you trying to get your weapon to be as strong as you can get it. And if you have a character that doesn't have a spec, well, does that break your weapon, right? So I don't think we will have an option to, so we're just going to have to deal with it.
Yeah, I didn't think about that before. I've been meaning to get into alpha and like level a character from the beginning on up and see how that affects things, but I haven't done that yet. So I'm glad you have, so you can really let us know about that. Sheesh, that's crazy. But
Yep.
I mean, like you said, you got to roll with it. I mean, there's always changes and things, different rules that come into play because of changes. So
Yeah, and when Cataclysm was out, you had guilds, right? And guilds back then you could
right.
get XP boosts. So back then you said, well, guilds are not allowed. And so with all the changes that came up, we've always changed with them, right? Because we want to play the normal game. We're not interested in going to a vanilla server. We're interested, however, the pristine server where there's no XP boosts would be pretty good for us, because that I think I would like, but I don't know if that's actually going to go ahead or not. However, the biggest change so far has been the stat squish. They took out a whole bunch of stuff that people, without trying to select a spec, they've got nothing to really use. So this change coming up in Legion will be the biggest impact that we would have felt ever.
yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, that's a huge but you're talking about Pristine and Legacy and everything else. That was one thing I wanted to definitely talk about was, and anybody that follows me on Twitter, they know exactly the moment that it happened. That I was leveling my character up, and I was just overcome by the nostalgia of just being on foot, leveling slower, and just not racing through the content just to level as fast as possible for the first time in a long time. And it really struck me as a big nostalgia trip, and all the memories of, because I loved the Night Elf starting area. I absolutely loved Darkshore. Everything else, I took my no mage over there and leveled him through there. Now the looks that I got back in vanilla leveling a no mage out there was very strange. But I mean, bear in mind, not only that, but I mean, there's no mage trainers over there, so it was. I was really going out of my way to be in. I just love it. So to take my time and go through it a little bit slower, it reminded me of so much, and I just flooded my Twitter feed with all kinds of screenshots from back in the day just because of it. And that was a side effect I didn't expect. I really was just going into it for the challenge, but I'm enjoying just sitting back and kind of taking my time with the game again, and just enjoying those the certain zones have that ambiance, and they have those musical themes that I haven't really paid attention to in a long time because I'm usually flying right over them. Those little nooks and crannies of places that I don't see anymore because I fly over it all, and I don't want to get into the whole flying, no flying, and all that stuff, but I do see now where flying has kind of kept me from being a little bit more immersed in the game than I used to be. So I see that a little bit more now. I was really pleased by that, and I'm looking forward to, not just, again, going through the whole challenge, but all those different instances where I get to just sit and kind of just take my time and smell the roses a bit in Azeroth again. Because, I mean, it is the world of Warcraft, and I feel like I've been, missing it by queuing and flying and everything else. It's nice to just take my time again. So I appreciate that. For you, I want to thank you personally for giving me that experience, because I've really appreciated that. So
Well, and anytime anybody thanks me, I thank you. But really, the credit goes to the people that were playing Ironman before I was there.
Right.
And when the guy went away, and before I got there were still people keeping the thing alive, and without them, we would not be anywhere close to where we are now. So really, the thanks goes to them, because I mean they kept things alive, and any chance I get, I don't like to take stuff. I will shift it. I will shift credit to where it's due, or where it's supposed to go, I guess. Anyway, so so and very much that's where the credit should go, is to them for sure. And you know what, it kind of struck me that you were saying that it brought about a side effect of the old school ways, and I wanted to say that this challenge wasn't made to make you feel that way. Right. It was just, you want something different to try to level up without dying, try to level up without a spec, try to level up, with all these rules. It was never a let's go and recreate vanilla. It was never ever meant to be like that. It's just some people feel it and some people are like, oh my goodness, they don't like it. There's some people that try it and they're like, I can't do this stone because I don't like the quest. And it's like, no, that's cool, man. It's completely fine.
Right.
It's not for some people. Like, I have a very hard time doing the bloodthirsty and pacifist. It's too grindy for me as a player. I've got characters. I don't play those ones a lot because I lose my mind.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I mean, I went into it for the challenge. It was just a side effect. I just sitting there and eventually, I especially the night elf zones, because those themes have been such a part of my life, and they sit there and I have them on loop and everything else, and I just some of them just resonated with me again on a level that I didn't expect. So, Hazel, have you ever considered doing any of these challenges, or are you considering them now after Stone's sales pitch here?
The thing that first made me think about maybe doing it was when you said nobody ever does it in their first try. And that just kind of tickled my inner spite monster. I was like, oh, we'll see about that. But then I thought about it, and it sounds like it's a very time-consuming challenge.
It is.
Yes, and it's something for really people that are struggling to find something to do, or the people that have that time that they want to put towards a goal. And I think it sounds like a very rewarding and sometimes frustrating thing to do. I don't think I could afford the therapy bills, and I'm gonna leave that for braver people than me.
There you go. It's a lot more time consuming than I expected, and I'm running into the same fear that you're talking about with Asmongold. I was trying to do it as a side project to do it till Legion, but it can't. I didn't feel like it can be a side project, so I don't know if I'm gonna. But you know what? At this point, I'm doing it because I'm just enjoying it, just because of the other, like I said, the side effect, if nothing else, and the challenge too. But if I don't get it done before Legion, then I mean, let me ask you that, Stone. If I don't get it done by Legion, if I'm caught halfway through, am I able to just take that character and hear the new rules to it, or do I just need to start over?
Oh no! So what's going to actually happen? See, Legion is not out of alpha yet, and once it is, then we'll start to really talk about what we are going to do. However, one of the rules that I think I'm going to do is that when we change over from Warlords to patch 7.0, I'm going to record the level that you were at pre-patch, and then whenever anybody looks at your character, they can see, well, you made it to level 65 at using our old way, and now you've managed to make it up the rest of the way. So I'm just going to take like a snapshot of where you were as a character as far as being on the challenge, and people can, and like there'll be some people, they'll be at like level 20. Do you really care, or do you just want to re-roll it, right?
So you're basically going to put an asterisk on a character that's caught in between, essentially. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. That's not too bad.
Well, basically, like, we've got characters that hit max, okay, and they still play them to hit max for the next expansion too. True. So those ones we're going to say, well, their level at patch is going to be level what is going to be level 100. And when they hit 110, well, at least we know that they already hit level 100 back in the day when it was, quote unquote hard.
Right. Exactly.
So I'm see it's really weird. I take it personally, even though it's not directed at me, saying, "Oh, it's gonna be easy," like it's my fault, and it's like I feel like it's my fault, and I know it's not. But whatever happens, I'm gonna say right now, even if it means that the podcast goes no one plays this thing anymore, or it's gonna be back down to like the core group again, we're gonna keep going. Like we're gonna be there until Blizzard shuts the server down, or I will tell you that the challenge will truly be dead when you can no longer die.
Yeah,
okay,
that's true.
So when Blizzard puts in the code to say, well, if you're about to die, you actually get a buff and you don't die. It's like, okay, then there's no.
Oh man, I'm just imagining like a 3v3 arena, and the health bars are getting close to low, and then you just get this message that says you agreed to disagree, and then it makes your character emote, wave at each other, and you just walk out of the arena. You're done.
No, that's when I quit the game. I'm sorry, that's when and I keep thinking, they talk about Horde and Alliance, joining up and being able to, factions basically not being a thing. I don't know if that's going to bother me or not either. That may be for some reason. It shouldn't. Because I play Rift where there isn't that issue either, but there's part of me where it's just like I'm just that's probably where my being a snob comes into play. It's like no, that's not how it should be.
I don't think it's being a snob.
You don't think so?
No, because this is the World of War. Okay,
that's
this is
true.
The World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it is war.
So these guys, we're supposed to be at war.
Yeah.
Now we come together to go fight off a single common foe. Fine.
Right.
But I actually kind of like Garrosh because he was nutso, man.
Yes,
he brought it back to we are at war, and we are at war.
Yeah.
It's a well-known fact that the weak must die.
Yes.
Oh.
We need to have T-shirts with that for you because that's your catchphrase.
It's I kind of don't feel like if they were to allow factions to merge as far as finding raids and stuff, I don't think I'm opposed to that. So let's say if you're in your alliance guild and you have 19 people and you need one more or something, I don't know. You can go grab your friend that's only playing Horde. Yeah. I mean, we've come together to fight big bosses before, so going to that extent, I think I'm okay. But if they were to actually fully merge it, where we only have one auction, we do have one auction house, to allow you to walk into other people's cities without, being killed.
Weird.
Right? That's just it's not World of Warcraft.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that would be really odd, and I'm glad that makes me feel a little better because it's very convenient in Rift, but Rift is a free-to-play game that people kind of play on the sly. I mean, Warcraft's still the big MMO, so yeah, let's not go there. Hopefully we won't go there. Hazel, you wanted to talk a bit about the Gold Sinks information. There's a lot of Gold Sink information now coming out in Legion's Alpha, and I know you have more information on that. Do you want to talk about that a bit?
Sure, yeah. So essentially what's happened and what people are all kind of upset about is that they've got this vendor that they've added into the Legion Alpha, and he has a couple of things. He's got a pet. It's some kind of calf, like a spectral calf. I'm assuming it's going to be like a river beast. I'm not very excited about that. And there's this spider mount. There's this really cool, big, creepy spider mount. And previously in the Legion Alpha, the price was set on the mount to 100k, and everybody assumed that's just going to be another, standard issue gold sync mount. And in the most recent build, they've elevated that price so that the pet is 1 million gold. The spider mount is 2 million gold, and then there's a couple of toys for in the 500-ish thousand gold range. And a lot of people weren't expecting the prices to go that high.
Right.
There's people making comparisons about the price of them relative to gold cap compared to prices of past gold sinks relative to gold cap. Like, for example, in Wrath, the Kirin Tor Signet Ring or the Traveler's Tundra Mammoth was approximately 10% of the current gold cap at that time. Same thing with the Grand Expedition Yak. They raised the gold cap in Mists, but they also had that 100,000, 120,000 Yak that was approximately 10% of gold cap. And now with our new 10 million gold cap, this 2 million gold mount is actually 20%. So the biggest gold sink is actually twice as expensive, relatively speaking, as it has been in the past. So a lot of people have some different feelings about that. And I'm really curious to see how this affects the economy going into Legion, because everybody that's into gold making is kind of unsure about exactly where it's going, because in Warlords we've had this really unique situation where people that have never made gold in the past, people that were never farming, people that were never playing the auction house, they can just kind of log in and do their garrisons and just have buckets of gold just dumped onto their head. And lots of people, myself included, are taking advantage of that, and people are just sort of stockpiling gold and sitting on gold and getting their WoW tokens and then just kind of accumulating gold just in case of something. Right. So you have all this gold just kind of sitting in the economy, not going anywhere, and it's devaluing a lot of commodities. So in Legion, with them adding these new ways to suck gold out of the economy, everybody's wondering exactly how much that's going to happen, and whether gold is going to continue to inflate at the rate it has, if it's going to inflate slower, if it's going to deflate, because they're obviously aware of what they've done in Warlords in regards to what they did to the economy, which is some very, very bad things between the way they handled garrisons and professions and whatnot. But in Legion, they're taking a lot of steps to rectify that, but because so much of the damage has already been done with people sitting on these huge stacks of gold, it's really hard to say exactly where things are going to go. So having this mount and these toys and pets and whatever on this vendor for such exorbitant prices is something that's really getting people talking about that and exactly where gold is going to go in Legion, what's going to make it feel worthwhile to get. Like if you get a a gray item, are you going to bother to vendor it, or are you just going to have a delete macro that just like drags it out of your bags,
Right. I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I've never made a lot of money in this game. I've never ever have until garrisons. And while we'll have the class order halls and everything else, they're not supposed to be working quite the same way as garrisons were. So I highly doubt we're going to be making a lot of gold from that. So those are high prices but again, it's alpha. Things can change. So
absolutely, yeah.
We'll see how that goes. But I found it interesting that Ian Hazzikostas kind of came and laid the smackdown on people.
Oh yeah.
his response, and we can put a link in chat. And actually, go ahead and do that. But also, we'll put that in the on the website when we put the podcast up. But basically, what he has said is that there's lots of different. I mean, one of the things that I took from it anyway is there's lots of ways to get different mounts, and you're not always going to get every mount. Because you're not going to want to do PvP to get the gladiator mount. You're not going to want to do this and that. And I love that because, I mean, that's where I felt like the game used to be. And there's so many people that are just like, I pay my $15 a month. I deserve to get everything that I want. And I understand that to a degree, but there's still that game part where you have to get challenges and earn stuff and
earn it.
And here something that my dad taught me at a very young age, like with a car, when you earn something, it feels so much better than have it handed to you. We don't want participation trophies in World of Warcraft. I mean, there are some things that everybody gets and everything, but it's nice that there's things that people can really focus on and put their effort into if they want to, and not if they don't want to. So, I don't know. What do you guys feel about that part of it, where people feel a bit like they should just get everything handed to them as opposed to, really putting an effort into different aspects to earn these things?
Hazel?
Okay. Well, I think it's fairly well accepted that the more accessible a thing becomes, the less cool it is. Like, for example, if you look at... And this may actually become more and more cool as time goes on because it was a limited time availability thing, but if you look at the Core Hound mount they did for the anniversary event where they unlocked Molten Core again.
Right.
Everybody that queued up for this Raid Finder thing and suffered for 4 hours one time would get this giant mount. And to date, it's the only Core Hound mount that's rideable in the game, and it's huge.
Yep.
And it's really dramatic. And when was the last time you saw somebody riding one?
That's true.
Like, because it's so easily available, it's not cool anymore.
Yeah.
And people will huff and puff and get really upset about, and you even saw most recently when they announced the Infernal mounts for the new Gladiator mounts in Legion. Everybody's like, well, why can't we have one of those?
Right.
Why are only like 100 people going to get those? And it's one of those things where if everybody has it, nobody cares. Nobody wants it anymore. So you kind of have to make these things like uniquely accessible in different ways. And it's okay to make something really rare. It's okay to make something that you're never going to get. I can look at the mythic Archimon mount right now and accept that I am probably never going to get that. I might get that like 4 years from now if I happen to start running old raids.
Right.
And that's another thing is there's a lot of PvEers that are kind of upset that if you don't get a Glad mount, you're never going to get it. It's never going to be available again. It's gone forever. But people that those mythic raid mounts, while at the time that the raid is out, they're really cool and elite and nobody has them. They do become available to the casual player base at a later time, and a lot of them want either that to stop or they want it to be made equal to PvP, but that's kind of a different argument. I completely lost my train of thought.
No, but that was a good point, though. You know, the difference between the PvP and PvE being still available.
Oh,
I never even thought about that before, but I can see how people can get up in arms about that.
But yeah, basically, it's okay for there to be things that not everybody can get, and I think it should be encouraged. I think there should be a lot more things that not everybody can get, because then when you actually, you make a plan and you put in the effort to get something, then it's worth it. And all the time that you spent doing that was time you spent playing this game, where if you just logged in and you did whatever and you got it immediately, and then you logged off, then you stopped playing. So those are the kind of things that keep people actually playing the game, which is really what we need right now.
That's interesting. And, I heard somebody saying, and I can't remember, I think it was during the whole legacy conversation, somebody at some point said they hate transmog, and I really was kind of taken aback by that, because I've never heard anybody say that. But their point was, and it was something that I never really considered, and I certainly get from my standpoint, is that back in the day you would walk up and you'd see somebody that was in full tier raid gear back in the day, and you're like, that dude's a badass. I remember seeing a rogue in full tier back when I was in vanilla, and I was just like, wow, that's awesome gear. And it was so rare that it really stood out, and you're like, that dude's a hardcore raider. I mean, you see somebody on a Glad mount, you're like, that's a PvPer. There's ways, it kind of adds flavor to your character in terms of what they're into, and helps them stand out a little bit. I never really thought about that in terms of mounts, but yeah, that definitely, if you could have things that differentiate like that. I mean, obviously you see somebody with that Fellsteel Annihilator, they're a mythic raider, and there's some, if you want to carry, maybe if you give them enough money. But that's something I never thought about, how it really differentiates characters. What do you think, Stone?
I am not a fan of transmog, only because I kind of felt it was a waste of gold, because I don't really care how my character looks, so why would I waste gold on it? And for other people that want to transmog, I don't hate them. Just, you want to spend your gold on that, that's cool.
Right.
I'm one of those guys that tried to go for gold cap, and then I kept spending my gold on stuff.
That is the big that's what people don't understand. They're like, how do I earn? You see all these gold makers, and you're like, wow, look how they flipped that item from 1 gold to 1,000,000. They're amazing. But that's not it. It's mostly just not spending it.
Yeah. And I was on my road to hitting gold cap, and then they brought out the WoW token, and then I was like, okay, well, it's finished now, because if I can play WoW without having to really pay like real dollars for it, done.
Yeah,
So as far as getting mounts and stuff like that, I know that Mythic Garage, okay, drops him out, and it's not the same mount that you get when you kill him on heroic. It's like a different one, right? It's like a 1% chance drop or something. Yeah. So even now, I know I won't be able to get it on my own, and I tend to only like the solo stuff, so I won't go back and do things unless I can play it on my own, because I don't want to bug anybody else to come with me. I just kind of want to do things on my own. So that's just how I am. And you know what? Doing the Ironman, I am very much about, you put in your work, you get the reward. And this challenge actually is all about that, because it's very hard. And when you finally get there, it's such a, look at what I did. And that's why we have the website. That's why we have the podcast too, is to say, look at what these guys did. Look what there's one lady, she's done it 5 times. We're like, well, how do you do that? Yeah. So we brought her on the show, and just to talk with her, it's like, wow, So just stuff like that. So I am very much about, if you put in your work, you should get your reward. It's just, you can't play and expect to be rewarded. You should be playing the game for the potential to get reward and playing the game because you like it. If you don't like it, I don't know why you're playing. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, there's times. There's times where I've been kind of bored, but the only reason why I'm still here is because of my guild, right? And that's fine. I just you are spending your money. So I guess just overall, I think what I'm trying to say is that if you spend your $15, it doesn't guarantee you everything in the game. I think you spend your money to play the game. You play it to win. No, sorry, you play it to have fun and potentially get rewards. Oh, Bob.
Oh,
Bob. Yeah,
Poor
Bob
Bob.
is he's not declawed or anything, right? And we don't have any carpet, so whenever he runs, it's just
There you go. Well, at least you can keep
Right.
track of him. Well, that and the bell.
yeah.
Like I said, the bell. I
Yeah.
had the bell when I was 18. Till I was 18. Then I was a legal adult. They had to take it off. Sorry, guys. Boy, did they regret that later. But I'll talk about that. Anyway, so yeah, that's cool. I mean, like I said, for me, I've gone back and forth on this. I've actually had people get mad at me on Twitter and stuff because of the fact that I just feel like there should be different levels of different play for different people. I mean, if you don't want to do something great, but I mean, there has to be, a sacrifice there. I mean, if you don't want to do something, then okay, that's fine, but you can't expect to get something for not doing anything, I guess. So I mean, I'm all for all those different. I love the PvP and the PvE mounts as differentials for the characters and the player and all that. I'd like to see more of that. I don't know what other aspects they could take that to, but I would definitely. Again, like I've said, when it comes to mounts, just put one on a raid boss or a dungeon boss. We don't have.
Just put one on every end dungeon boss with like a
Okay,
0.5%
that's
drop
too-
rate, and I will live forever.
That's too far because they'll just reskin a bunch of them anyway. But I mean, have we had a
Just blow up all the battle pets. Just let me ride a tiny little frog, but a big one,
Ride a
I just want like
tiny
a
big-
frog mount and a bunny mount and a deer, like a little deer. Oh my god, I need a deer, not the moose. I need like a little baby deer.
the
So
rabbit
excited.
from the Darkmoon Fair though with the
Gimme.
oh
I
my
need
goodness,
it.
as a mount that would be a terrifying mount. I like
would be
that idea
excellent.
now.
Yeah.
You're on to something. I need to tweet Ian Hazacostas later or whoever, I don't know, but anyway, but yeah, no, I just we haven't had a mount come off a dungeon boss in a while, have we? I mean, besides what they
No.
did with time walking.
Yeah, I think that was the most recent implementation of.
Yeah, I don't
and
know.
people go crazy over that. People are just killing
Oh.
themselves trying to get that thing.
I can't see. I can't do it. I cannot do time walking. I loved it at first. And I got a little bit of what I needed from it, and I'm tired of running into groups where people just think it's face roll, like it's still the same level it used to be, and nobody wants to do any mechanics or care or pull. They want to pull too much. And see, that's what I play a healer a lot of the time, so I hate that because it's always
No.
I'm sorry.
it's always
Ever
the healer's
low-key
fault.
time walking is
Doesn't
the healer.
matter,
You need
yeah.
at least one friend.
Does not matter what I do. It's still the healer's fault every time.
Yeah.
All right. Well, on that note, we'll go ahead and end the show. Thank Bob for us in particular. We're sorry you put him out a little bit. So, but Stone, why don't you tell the folks a little bit about where they can find you and contact you, and more about where the website is and all those good little plugs that you can give us.
Okay, so I don't do a lot of these shows. I'm just so I'm not used to. Okay, so because
Well, on
Lita
Twitter,
usually
where they
does our
can find
outro
you.
stuff, so she just does everything.
Right.
Okay, so the website the website is WowChallenges.com. Looking at Twitch plug.
That's right.
You can find me on Twitter at WowChallenges. I use that as my personal account and my WoW account. I can't do two things, so and you can also we do a weekly show once every Saturday night at 7:00 Eastern time on twitch.tv/WowChallenges. Wow, Hazel is typing these up pretty
Yeah,
good.
look at her. She's all.
Oh,
That's why
It's all been the same thing so far. This is very easy.
Yeah. You can also find us on YouTube. This is going to be different. YouTube.com/WowChallenges1, the number 1.
Oh, okay.
And basically, I also do a podcast with Lita, just her and I, called Adventures in Azeroth, and you can find that at adventuresinazeroth.com. It's just us about playing WoW, and because we love WoW and we just play. And I'm apparently I'm going to be on another. We're going to be starting another podcast starting this Sunday at 10 o'clock Eastern at twitch.tv/Richter, and that's the Richter scale. RYK. Nope. RYKTER. Yeah, it's butts.
Folks, just so you know, when people are listening to this,
RYKTER. So I do have a speech problem. Every once in a while it gets really bad. Right now it's actually not too bad. So you guys are lucky. Well, I'm lucky because I've been on some shows where I'm just I can't talk, man.
Oh, I am too, but usually there's rum involved. That's a whole
Oh,
different. That needs to be a drunken WoW podcast.
Oh God.
I would do that.
Something for me to ponder later.
I would.
All you got to do is you just got to Skype call me on like a Friday night, and I won't even know.
That would be
I'll just
great.
be already going.
And you won't even know. That's the best part. I'll be
Thank
like,
you guys
remember what you said last night?
Beyond too. Though.
Oh no, absolutely. I'm really glad. I've been, like I said, once I started doing it, and not only seeing it was more difficult than I expected, but again the whole nostalgia thing and just playing the game in a different way. And that's one of the reasons why I like WoW, is because it's kind of a big sandboxy thing for you to do what you want. There's so many people that get upset there's nothing to do. Well, there is. It's just not stuff that you want to do, which is fine.
Yeah.
But don't say there's nothing to do, because one of the reasons we started this podcast is we both kind of admitted to ourselves, myself more than Hazel, I think Hazel came to terms with it more than I had, is that I'm going to play this game probably till they shut the servers down.
Yep.
I'm a complete addict. I know that, and I will always find my own fun in this game. So, and that's what we want to do. Those are the people that we're speaking to, and that's why I wanted to bring you on the show, because I figured there might be some people that don't know about this and want to be, get interested in it and try it themselves. So
it's funny. I still find people that never knew about this, and they're like, "Yeah, if I you're why I'm still playing WoW. Like you,
right.
like you're why I have my sub still." And I'm like, hey, Blizzard, maybe you can give us some help too. And see, we're keeping you subs, man.
Yeah, exactly.
set up a commission referral system.
Oh, man. That'd be awesome.
That's a great idea. You know what? All content creators should actually do that. We should get a little kickback
boy.
somehow. That's a good point. So, all right. Well, on that note, we are running a little bit late, so I just want to say thank you guys again. Stone in particular, like I said, this was totally last minute, but I'd been wanting to get you on because I wanted to talk about the subject. So I really am thankful that you were able to hop on. Again, thank your wife, thank your kids, and thank Bob for allowing us to have you on. I do.
Thank you for having me on.
No, absolutely. No
you.
problem at all. And Hazel, as always, it's been a pleasure, dear. I'm telling you, I love Mondays now, which I never thought I would say. So it's been good. It's been cool. So you guys, we'll see you again next week. I don't know exactly what we may have a guest, we may not. We'll see how that goes. But thank you guys again for listening to us. We are on Stitcher and iTunes, as well as here on Twitch live every Monday. Hopefully you guys can make it, because the chat room can get very interesting, as you heard butts earlier. We won't even go into it. You have to be here to find out those little things. Hazel, where can people find you in terms of where, if they want to chat at you or watch your stuff?
Mostly YouTube and Twitter, which are both at HazelNuttyGames.
There you go.
If you click on my name in the Twitch chat, if you're in the thing, then there's links to everything that I've ever done in my whole life. So I'm sure you can find everything that way. But yeah, I
resume on
YouTube
the
videos.
internet.
Sometimes I tweet, and that's my whole life.
There you go. And I'm pretty much at Wowmartiean on everything as well, YouTube, Twitter, and all of that. So Emerald Dreamcast, you can find us on Twitter as well. Share D on that one, and of course here on Twitch with Emerald Dreamcast with 2Ds as well. We are a part of the D20 Crit group. I don't know why. I just totally network. I could totally just flew out of my head. So if you guys get a chance, d20crit.com. That's where our podcast is housed. So you can go check it out there. Otherwise, like I said, Stitcher, iTunes, for your ears, wherever you are.
So many places to download it.
It's nice, and I'm starting to put it on my YouTube because people were starting to ask me about it, and it's neat. It's interesting in the buzz that comes from that as well. Even though like it's like episodes way behind, they're all like, "This is awesome!" And I put 2 episodes up in like 2 consecutive days. They're like, "Whoa!" I'm like, "Wait, we were actually like on episode 7. Calm down. This is just catching us up." So. But yep, we're very happy to be doing this, and we thank you guys for listening, and we will see you guys next week. Take care.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
I love the 20.